To have that conversation, we shall be discussing with Judith Atieno, Customer Experience Manager at Minet. Thank you very much, Judith, for joining us here on KBC Channel 1. Karibu sana. So it is Customer Service Week.
Yes.
What exactly goes on during this week?
All right. Thank you very much for that question. Customer Service Week is really a week-long celebration of customer service. And it takes place the first full week of October. So this year falls between the 2nd and 6th of October. We celebrate what we do for service. We review what we have done and just be able to celebrate and look at achievements and what we can do to build on customer experience. So this year's theme is Customer Experience Agility, and that's the national theme. Internationally, they're looking at team service. So yes, we're looking at customer experience agility.
Right. So even as most people this week are going into very well decorated, offices. There are cakes there, sweets, maybe flowers for some.
Yes.
But behind all this decor, and the beauty of the smiles during Customer Service Week, how important is customer service for businesses?
Customer service is really, really important. And we have moved. I think we moved from customer care to customer service, and now we're talking customer experience. And why is it important? I think because one of the things you will note is that a good customer experience will actually boost your retention. It's been known that 10 to 15% business growth can be achieved if the experience really is good. So you don't want to ignore customer experience. Most businesses have recognized the importance of customer experience and therefore entrenched it as at the center of what they're doing. Yeah.
Of course, most of the biggest thing is perception, brand perception.
Yes.
And it does not matter what you perceive yourself as a business. It boils down to what the customer perceives you
Absolutely.
as. So how do you build that in a way that the customer goes home feeling, oh great, I could buy from there the next time, and then they begin to become loyal to the brand. How do you develop that?
Now, customer experience looks at journeys, the customer journeys. You look at how do customers experience a brand? How do they feel after an experience with a brand? How do you feel after an experience with me, for example? How do you feel after an experience with Minet? And those are not just, feelings. You have to tailor those experiences. You have to design those experiences. We have to be very intentional about the customer journey. So, and create moments of joy within those journeys. Take away the pain. Most customers remember the pleasure. So you want to be careful and cognizant about the pain areas and be very careful to remove that pain and put pleasure. You might not remove all the pain in the journey, but as much pain as possible be removed, and the overall experience be as pleasurable as can be. So you definitely want to be intentional about experience, and that's why customer experience is really, really important. It's every journey, every moment, from even before the customer experiences us when they think about buying a product. How are they experiencing us in the various channels that they're communicating with us?
Right. You've just mentioned channels, and I remembered there's a company that has put maybe a phone number on their website, but they don't pick up. And when you go to the actual store, they tell you that we don't pick up when we are busy, So that gives someone a very negative feeling. You're desperate to know maybe before you go and purchase, yeah? How can businesses work around these challenges to ensure that they are really giving that experience at every point in time of the journey?
Design, experience design is a relatively new term in our country, but I know in a lot of the other markets there's a lot of design that's going on, and they're professional in terms of looking at experience design, and that's why I talked about journey mapping. So you're looking at the different touch points within your business and mapping out the experience you want your customers to have when they engage with you. So for example, if I have a phone number that's not working, at this date and age, your customers will walk away, will go to the next person who responds to their messages. So you want to be very intentional about the different channels. So whether it's social media, whether it's telephone, whether it's WhatsApp, text messages. You want to be very intentional about how you're engaging with your customers. So if your phone line is not going through, you want to relook at that and redesign that journey so that the experience is pleasurable for your customers when they reach out to you. Remember, retention or even catching and charming those customers is really a factor of how well they engage with you. And if I'm feeling bad when I try to reach you and I cannot reach you, I look for the next person. I click away. I move on to the next. So we want to be very intentional within the customer experience space so that we are charming and catching and keeping those customers.
Right. In this day and age when communication channels are very many, including, digital, customer feedback is very important.
Yes.
What is the role of customer feedback in, say, product development?
All right. You want to develop a product that speaks to the customer's needs. You want a product, you don't just want to build a product because, Judy on Minet think that this is what speaks to the customers, this is what trends. And interestingly, AI helps a lot. We have big data now, and the big data does give us a lot of insights from what customers are saying. So we can take all that information and be able to use it and channel it towards tailoring a solution that then fits the customer's needs. So it speaks. So we use the big data, we use analytics to be able to structure or tailor solutions and products that suit customer needs. You don't want to just think that, oh, maybe this is what the customer wants. So we talk about customer centricism. I know many organizations are putting a seat in the room that represents the customer every time they do something. Why? You don't want to forget the customer when you're tailoring a solution or making a product. If you forget the customer, well, the experience will not be structured. The customer will not come for that product because it will not suit their needs. So you want to have the customer in the room, and you want to, as much as possible, be able to identify what are their needs, what are their expectations, and the customer in the room brings that out for you so that you're able to boost sales. You're able to bring them to you.
Right. Of course, we cannot wish away the impact that digital media has right now on matters customer experience and, most importantly, feedback. Yeah. So, according to a report by McKinsey, it says that 55% of people post their purchases on social media.
Yes.
And if it is a horrible experience, it's right there for the world to see.
Correct.
And it will be there here and now and forever.
Very true. Very true.
So how does the customer experience personnel maybe deal with these situations, especially when it's negative feedback? We've seen times going bad, turning into a crisis. So how do you deal with it the right way?
In customer experience, things will go wrong. And in the age of social media, they go wrong even faster. I mean, everybody knows about what has gone wrong with you. But it's about how quickly you catch and kill these situations. If my customer has a problem, I want to know about it quickly, be able to respond to it very, very fast, and have the mechanisms to catch and respond to this very, very, very quickly, and people equipped and skilled enough to be able to respond and assist, because reputational risk is really, really high, especially with social media now at our doors. And if you're not responding to your customers, you tell her, she tells them, and everybody obviously knows there's a problem with the experience at a certain point. So you want to quickly catch it, quickly kill it, and make sure it never recurs. So at Minet, we talk about doing root cause analysis, identifying the pain of the customer, and quickly doing a root cause analysis, and then putting CAPA in place. CAPA is really corrective action, preventive action, and then if we need to have quality objectives around that internally so that we make sure that it never recurs, we do that. And then we look at the experience from the eyes of the customer. We have a voice of customer tool. So from the voice of customer tools that consolidates all this feedback, AI has come and really helped us to be able to bring all these tools, all this feedback, the voice of the customer into the room through different channels. So we are able to respond quickly and make sure that, we put preventive action. Like I said, we may not be able to kill all the pain, it might still be there, but we are cognizant of that pain and how to, make it go away and, make sure, or we reduce it as much as possible for our customers, enhancing the experience.
There are times when you've seen companies ignore the point of contact with the customer. Someone comes and says, the product I bought was faulty or blah, blah, blah. And then they just take you in circles. And before you know it, all that evidence is online.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's wrecking your business badly. Is it that there are businesses that do not recognize how important this is?
Well, it would be sad in this age not to recognize the importance of customer experience. And yes, some businesses, I think they do recognize, but they're still in the age in the age where really if you don't put the customer first, customers are the reason we're in business. They're the ones who make sure our salaries are paid and we have, the profits to talk about, and that we're here today. So if we don't take care of the customer, then we're out of business. So for any businesses out there that have not yet recognized the importance of, customer experience, and if you notice in Kenya right now, customer experience is a key aspect of the boardroom discussions right now. How do we make our customers? We're differentiating ourselves based on our experience. So those who are still thinking product, service, you're left behind. Price, you're left behind. So those are important, but the experience is the differentiator. So you really want to review the experience the customer is having with you at every touch point, so that you're making sure it's a good experience, it's a pleasurable experience. From when I come here, how I pack, when I'm thinking of coming to visit with you, and I'm thinking, about the packing, I'm thinking about how I'm welcomed in here. There's so many little details, but all that, builds up to the experience. We don't remember all those moments, and that's why you design experiences to make sure that you have those, moments that will leave you feeling, wow. I went to Minet and I got a really good experience. I mean, those people, they waited for me at the door. There was somebody expecting me. I had a problem, with my medical scheme, for example, but when I got there, they had options for doctors I could see. They had options for hospitals I can visit. There was somebody to hold my hand and walk me through this journey. I've just been diagnosed with a chronic condition. Those are some of the things that you think about before the customer comes. So any business that's not thinking through the journey of the customer is actually missing out. And like I said earlier, 10 to 15%, increase in business if the experiences are good. That's an increase in business. So it's a game changer. It's a differentiator. Customer experience is.
Right. Customer experience is not just a reserve of the customer experience team, right?
No.
I mean, as you've said, it starts all the way from the parking and all that. Let's take an example of a restaurant.
Yes.
You've gone into a restaurant. There's a really nice waiter or waitress there waiting for you, waiting on you, sorry. They serve you the food. They do everything right, but the food is horrible. Yeah? So that customer experience is ruined.
Obviously.
Despite the efforts of, the front-facing staff. So how do you ensure that everybody in the organization is understanding of the customer journey and the journey that you've mapped and plays their role well? Yeah. Actually,
just the other day, we were having a conversation on customer service as a team sport, and Dr. Lucy Kiruthu was just talking to us about it. And one of the questions she was asking was, who is responsible for the experience? Because you'd find I'm in customer experience, you're in sales, somebody else is in administration. I tell you, all of us, each and every one of us, if one of those points fails, then the experience is ruined. And that's why I was talking about moments in the journey. We might not get it perfectly. We strive to get it perfect, but there will be those moments when things don't go right. How do we quickly correct that? How do we make sure that each moment, and that's why I brought about the issue of experience design. If I come and your food is not good, then definitely if everything else was good, and that is the only thing I will remember. Yep. So we want to structure every moment in the customer journey to be pleasurable, so that when the climax gets here, the food is here, you're thinking, hey, I am not going anywhere else. All my friends are going to hear about this. Yeah. So you're telling people, and word of mouth is now what sells. One person, I get a good experience, I tell 6 other people, and that's, and that's business, affecting the bottom line for every organization.
Right. So in this journey that you've mapped out, there is a security person at the gate.
Yes.
How do you make sure that they understand their role in this?
Well, every organization has an essence, an experience essence. So what's your experience essence? For example, at Minet, our experience essence is, embedded in the value, in the acronym HEART. We're talking honesty, expertise, agility, respect, and teamwork. So when our people come in, when we have third parties coming in to serve our customers, we do let them know to connect with our values. So we're going to be honest. We're going to show expertise in the area. So if you're the askari, be an expert at the entrance, at the gate where you meet my customers. I'm giving instructions that are very, very clear. No ambiguity, no space to imagine that, oh, this is how it's supposed to be done. No, it's very, very clearly stipulated that this is what we expect. When our customers come in, they will be registered here for security purposes, and then you will take them here, and then the person will come and receive them. So it's very, very clear at every stage of your visit with us what needs to be done, so that there's no ambiguity. It's very clear. We want our essence to be embedded in the values of heart. Our essence is to serve with heart, so you must serve with heart, and this is how you do it. So we document that, and organizations are documenting the experience that they want their customers to have. If you don't, people guess, and when they guess, things go wrong. A lot of things can go wrong. So yes, it's about tailoring, the kind of experience you want, and documenting and consistently talking about it to your people so they are aware nobody's making guesswork.
Very important. As you said that customer experience, it can actually increase sales from, say, 10 to 15%. So for businesses that maybe do not have a budget for marketing, or the mega advertising, this is definitely a direction that they should look into very keenly, right? Yes.
Yes. You really don't, if you do not have a budget for experience, you're actually setting yourself up for failure. Because experience, that's where your customers are. And customers are not buying those fancy things. Most of the time, customers are buying good feelings and solutions to their problems. So you want to make sure that that experience is tailored. The solutions that you're giving them are meeting their needs, and that every step of their journey, they feel special as they access. So you want to invest in that, because your customer is the one bringing in the money. You don't want to lose that. So everything else you're doing, keep the customer at the center of it, and you will go right.
It has been said severally that Customer Service Week has become about, decorating lobbies. So sometimes you get horrible customer service throughout the year, but during that week, my oh my, things are great. What can the industry do to ensure that the quality that people get during this week, is cascaded throughout the year?
I'm hoping that is what customer service and the customer experience week really is about. And our theme this year, customer experience agility, is really to drive that agility within the customer experience space. How quickly are you evolving? How quickly are you adapting to change? How quickly are you making, are you responding to customer requests, customers' expectations, customer needs, and putting in place, policies, procedures that make it easier for the customer, and not just this week, but throughout the year. How are you making it possible for the customer? So even as we create awareness and give you chocolate and give you cake and give you sweets, and I've seen people are making fun of the sweets, and but if we're going to do that the whole year, let's have a strategy. You need to have a customer experience strategy, and if it's not in your strategy, then you're setting yourself up for failure. So you need to have a customer service strategy or customer experience strategy, and make sure that you're sticking to it and you're monitoring and evaluating the results of that strategy.
Right, that is very important. Remember that we are talking about matters customer experience. This is the Customer Service Week, both in Kenya and across the world. And this year's theme for Kenya is Customer Experience Agility. We are having a conversation with Judith Atieno, the Customer Experience Manager at Minet. Alex Muriu, the Head of Customer Experience at Absa, will be joining us in a little bit. This show, we want to take a quick break now. When we come back, this conversation continues. We are talking about matters Customer Service Week, what the customer experience means for businesses, and why more businesses should take this into consideration. Joining me now in studio is Alex Muriu, the Head of Customer Experience Absa. Of course, we have been with Judith Atieno, the Customer Experience Manager at Minet. Alex, karibu sana, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Karibu.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Karibu sana. Tell us, what does customer experience mean for you?
Customer experience, given it's something I've chosen to dedicate my career to, alongside my colleague here, it means a lot. to me. I came from a technology background before I transitioned into this space. I've also worked in marketing for a while. And what attracted me to customer experience was the way it connects the sales objectives of the organization to the needs of the person being served by the organization. And there's a sweet spot in there where it has to be a win-win affair, right? I listened to some of the discussions you were having earlier, and I was amused because it's a common joke in the industry that during this week we are all very nice to customers, right? While the rest of the year, you struggle to find us, calls are not being picked and things like that. That for me remains a challenge that I say, how can we transform the organizations that we serve to be customer-centric from January 1st to December 31st, right? Because when that does happen, then you end up with that win-win relationship. So it means a lot to me because it's the moment of truth right there. What we say in marketing is we're going to do this and we're going to do this, come to us and you're going to get this and the other, right? But then when you walk through the door, is that promise what is being kept? That's what customer experience seeks to do, make sure that the promise is delivered. And that's why I think it's so critical to business today.
Very critical. Of course, there are some businesses that consider customer experience as an expense rather than a driver of growth. What would you tell such businesses?
There's a lot of data that actually negates that perspective, right? And organizations that have scored and ranked higher, and this is across the globe, on customer experience have also ranked higher than those that rank lower on customer experience on sales and revenue performance. I'm talking up to 30-40% higher performance. So customer experience then, when you think about it from that lens, is not an expense, it's actually an investment, right? Think of it this way. If you experience a service from a business that has 5 different products, right? And the one product that you signed up for, and you had a great experience with that product. If they come to you tomorrow and they ask you to take a second product, you're more inclined to that by virtue of the first experience. That leads to increased share of wallet, right? And again, data supports that better experiences leads to increased share of wallet. So it's not an expense. Every cent you put into enhancing your experience, Judith was talking about the design aspect of it. Every cent you invest in designing a better experience for your customer leads to a return on investment in increased share of wallet, increased recommendations, because word of mouth remains, even today with social media and everything, word of mouth is still the most powerful mode of marketing that any business can hope for. How do you get word of mouth? Great experiences. So it's not an expense.
Right, it's not an expense. I'd like to get your perspective on how to inculcate the customer experience journey to the whole, personnel in the company, not just customer experience teams.
That's a really good point. And when you're thinking about the trends in customer experience, there's something now we call total experience, which is saying that before you go to try and deliver great experiences to the people outside, it has to start with the people inside. So we call them the internal customers. That's the colleagues, that's the people working in the back office, and all these other people in the studios, the people working behind those cameras right there, right? So what does that mean? It means that if I am feeling empowered to do my job, if I'm feeling recognized and rewarded for doing a great job, if every time a customer says something good about me, there's an aspect of internal recognition for that, and that's something we're very big on at Absa today. Tomorrow I will show up to work and I will try to do better, because as human beings we thrive on that. We thrive on gratification and motivation, right? So internal service automatically translates to great external service. So when we as CX professionals are designing experiences and we're coming up with these journeys, the journey doesn't start and end with the customer. It goes beyond the customer to also talk about the journey of the colleague who is expected to deliver that service. And this conflict between service delivery and digitization, where there's this conversation around, okay, so if we're going to digitize, then why do we need the people, right? But the digital experience is a reflection of the human experience, right? If as an organization, for instance, you have not insisted on, let's say, empathy or honesty, as Judith was talking about, that will show up in how you're transparently demonstrating your pricing on your digital platforms. It will show up in your customer support when I call in and I'm saying I have a problem, and the people on the other side, because they can't see me, they don't feel my pain, right? We hear that from customers all the time. You guys don't understand how important this is to me. The way to deal with that is make sure your internal customers are very empowered and very, not only capable, but motivated to deliver that win-win relationship that I talked about earlier.
Right. Judith, you're nodding in agreement as he was speaking. I'd like to get your thoughts on that.
I was telling a friend of mine, I thought I ran away from mathematics until I got back and I realized CX plus EX equals TX. Customer experience plus employee experience gives us the total experience. So yes, the overall experience must be looked at. How our employees are treated, and how easy is it for them to use the apps and all the tools that help them to support customers. It shows up in the client experience and in how customers are experiencing our brand and our services. So absolutely agree with.
Yeah.
Right. They say that happy employees are 13% more productive. Imagine what that can do for a business in terms of sales and revenue. Yeah.
Yes.
I really like that.
Yeah.
Me too.
All right. So the customer service week, it will end on, is it Sunday? Is it a whole week through to Sunday, or
it's a whole
is it
week.
just
You've
Friday?
got the working days, but for organizations that serve even on
until weekends,
then,
it's until Sunday.
Yeah.
So beyond that, what are we looking to ensure that we are achieving this level beyond just the customer service week? I'll start with you.
Okay. As I said before, I think it's a big conversation topic even in the circles that we operate in, right? Customer experience as a department is a fairly recent phenomenon in business. I think most of us have not been in these roles for longer than 5, 8, 7 years if somebody has really been there. You're now seeing companies where the customer experience role is actually a director function now. That is already happening in banking, it's happening in telco and the rest of them. And what that then signals is that the importance of customer experience is going above, right, above a department. It's now becoming an organization-wide way of thinking. You're hearing CEOs talk more about being customer-centric and being customer-first all the time. 2 weeks ago, I was invited to do a board presentation on customer centricity for Absa as a whole, right? And so when you're seeing board level, leadership saying, what are we doing as an entity to be more customer centric? Then you start realizing that it's stopped being an event, right? CX has stopped being a celebration that happens these 7 days in a year. It's now being recognized as a part of strategy when it comes to organizational transformation. And so for me, I think my short answer to that would be, the more elevated it's becoming from a leadership and vision standpoint, then the more you will see it happening beyond the customer experience week. And that, I think, will really benefit the customers eventually, and we'll see more successful businesses as a result.
Right. Judith, thoughts?
I think he has said everything I was going to say, but one of the key things in customer experience is it's a major conversation, and every team within, every person within your ecosystem, one way or the other, impacts the customer, everything that they do. And I think our customers look at what we do. Our roles are really administrative, and for our organizations, the customer just wants service, a good experience, value for money. So it's in the best interest to make sure that the entire organization is aware of this and is taking steps. Start by including it in your strategy and having a clear strategy for customer experience. What is it we're doing, and how and when, and then monitor and evaluate, and you will definitely, the numbers you're talking about, you will be able to see them. The increased loyalty, increased customers, increase in the word of mouth, those customers will be really, really higher. So indeed, very important to have those conversations across the board and have a strategy that speaks to it.
Right, very important. Alex, since you're in the banking industry, I'd like to get from you how you deal with a communications crisis, because that is something that can lead to a bank run, you know, if you're not careful with it. So how do you deal with these situations so that they don't escalate to that point?
That's a really good question, Betty. That item we've just talked about earlier around empowerment of every single person across the chain is one of the foolproof ways of ensuring you don't end up there. And I'll tell you how. The reason an incident ends up becoming a crisis is because at the first point of contact, somebody mishandled it. Then it was escalated to the second point of contact, right? The second point, it got mishandled, and so forth. So it becomes a chain reaction. Now, if it so happens that that incident at the beginning did not just affect one person, but affected a multitude of people and still got mishandled across the chain, then you end up with a crisis. So I cannot overemphasize total experience enough, because that incident, how well it's taken care of, that's what makes all the difference, right? So that's number one. Number two is, I think now organizations, and especially in banking, I've been in banking for the last 10 years. In banking, we have now started appreciating customer feedback more and not viewing it as a threat. There was a time even just getting a social media page alive for banking, I remember when I started out, was a problem. And it was like, are you sure we want to do it? Do we want to moderate the comments? Do we want, can we delete them as they come in? That, we've come a long way from there, because customers just want to be heard. They want to feel heard, and they want to feel that we didn't just hear them, but we actually took the time to address what they were talking about. And so today, social media, for instance, has become a really strong tool for us in banking to enhance services, to review our products, to review our prices, to review our policies, and it's free. Again, I don't have to pay Ipsos or any other big research company to go and tell me this information now. I get a report every single morning on what is happening on social media, and that report helps us to know what we need to change that week, right? That report goes all the way to our MD, right? So that means before a crisis comes up, we will have picked up on it long before that happens. And I think today, if a bank finds itself in that situation, then there was an incident that was mishandled, and they're not listening. If you're listening, you will not find yourself in that situation.
Right.
Yeah.
So you have to listen.
You have to
listen. The lifeline of your business.
You have to listen.
Right.
Yeah.
So as we come to a close of the conversation, I'd like to get your thoughts on the future of customer experience. I mean, with all the, AI coming up, you said it's not really taking up the jobs because humans still want human interaction, rather. So what is the future of customer experience, looking like? Judith?
Yeah, automation has come in place, and it's making life easier for us. I talked about big data. We're able to serve our customers better because we're hearing them. We're able to see, for example, if I look at our healthcare business, and our customers are talking to us, they're visiting hospitals. Right now, AI is able to show me when are the days people are going to hospital the most. And I'm able to guide my customers and tell them, this is where you'd expect a dip in productivity these days. Is there something happening within your business that you need to change? So we're able to tailor-make solutions, for example, that guide businesses in terms of, reduce productivity as a result of sick absence. We're able to, do work faster. I'm out here, but my customers need to be responded to. AI can quickly, send an automated message. We will respond to you and raise a ticket, and somebody is able to quickly resolve, doesn't need me to be there. Then I go back and I'm able to tie that loop and give it a human touch. So there's so many things that AI and the future of customer experience are making so much easier. The emotional connection, we have more time to structure and tailor solutions and, bring in the emotional connection, because AI and, digitization is making things so much easier for us. So I don't need to do all the hard work with Excel and, I just run reports and I'm able to get what I need to be able to guide my customers. Voice of customer. it's easier to collect feedback. We have tools that now consolidate all that feedback for us. Again, I'm able to know what's the pain my customers are facing very, very quickly, catch it quickly, kill it quickly, put in, preventive action in place, and of course improvement so that the whole experience is improved. So the future looks very, very bright for customer experience. I don't see anybody worrying about, AI and technology taking over, because the human connection is still needed.
Very much
in a lot of that.
Awesome. Thank you, Judith. Alex, yourself?
No, I really well said. I read somewhere they said that people shouldn't be afraid of AI. They should be afraid of people who embrace AI, right? Because what AI does, it simply accelerates, right? I don't even call it acceleration anymore because it's so exponential, right? Yeah. I'll give you an example. We started doing text analytics at Absa. So some bright data scientists in the office deployed this machine learning code. So we get feedback on SMS, on email, on social media, right? Now we are transcribing the voice feedback that is coming into text as well. And this brilliant line of code is able to read through this hundreds and thousands of text and extract customer sentiments, extract keywords, and even tell us 3 things we should focus on out of all that. It's become like our own internal chat GPT, right? That's the power of AI, that I don't need a room full of analysts anymore to take a week to come back and tell me that these are the 5 things that our customers are complaining about. Today we are able to do that on a daily basis. So yesterday these were the 3 top issues that our customers complained about. What are we doing about it today? Tomorrow it will have changed because the world is moving very fast. And so the future is in, we call it humanized digital experiences, meaning that first and foremost, the baseline, the foundations of the values of customer centricity, like the heart that Judith talked about earlier. So those, you can't run away from those, all right? Because we are human first before we are technology. But then layer technology on that, right? And translate those values into something that benefits the customer, but benefits them in real time, because personalization is the new normal now, right? I don't want to have the same experience as Betty because I am very different from Betty, right? Now, if you as an entity are able to give me that kind of an experience that is uniquely mine, I call it my Netflix moment, right? Then you've got my money. That's the future. It's really not even the future, it's the present, if you ask me.
Right.
The future is agile.
Future is agile.
It's the present.
Awesome. Thank you very much. I appreciate you talking to us.
Thank you.
Awesome. I have been talking with Alex Muriu, the head of customer experience at Absa, as well as Judith Atieno, the customer experience manager at Minet. We have talked about Customer Service Week, what customer experience means for businesses, for customers, and why employees are a very key part of this customer experience. BizCheck takes a quick